and you need to match it.
Look at these athletes. Push it. The demonstration of human ability on show today.
The fact that you were struggling. Look at. Look at them.
I didn't have that bit lined up. It was
Because
processing.
you've never had to utter that sentence in your life.
Yeah. Look at the physical specimen on show today.
Oh, amazing.
So this is usually the part of the episode where Dave complains that you're not here. And so I think now you have the floor. Dave isn't here. We'll send him this afterwards. You can watch it. Because as we know, nothing is more difficult. As you know, specifically, Ross, nothing is more difficult than spending 2 hours a week recording a podcast. As we've said, athletes that we are.
And I thought you were going to say, that we do the hardest job in the world. Dad job,
Yeah, there is that. There is that.
Fatherhood,
Yeah.
And
you've only got one kid though, so you're gonna fucking nothing to moan about.
Fucking hell! I didn't think this. Like, imagine Sam 2 years ago saying this. Yeah, one kid, fucking easy. You don't know, you're born.
As I've said, kids scale well. I think if you've got 1, 2, wow, it's all just.
Well, listen, I've said, but just to get back to your original point before I say my next bit. What do I have to say about Dave? Not being here. I mean, the fact is, I guess I'm just a better person, Dave, than that. I choose to rise above it. I could talk about, how how his sick policy would rival that of corporate America, but I won't. And he's off sick today. And I could say that his constant interruptions will not be missed, but I won't say that because ultimately it's the sum of its parts. I would say that Sam and I, whenever we do a duos podcast, it's a wonderful and riveting conversation, and we're better off without Dave
too. It's always collegial.
The floor is yours, Sam. You know what I mean?
Supporting each other, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say that.
You're not saying that, right? Okay.
I'm not saying that because I'm a better person than that.
Yeah.
Some would argue a better person than Dave. I'm not saying that. Some people would say that.
Good people on both sides. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's refreshing. It's refreshing that to have a different bearded man here with me to talk about movies. But I would just note that my long-standing, steadfast ability to turn up every night when I'm supposed to remains true.
Fucking ease up.
I'm just saying.
Listen. All right, listen.
Oh, look how quick he turns! Look at this listener.
No, I'm just saying. Last week I had proper fucking genuine reasons. Like I said, Amy was away for work, away the whole week, so I was doing fucking. I was a single dad last week with a full-time job, and I was exhausted. And the thing is, I had every intention to go on the podcast last Tuesday, but the thing was, it got to like 7:30. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to put my son to bed, and I'm thinking, I still have to make my dinner after this, and then I've got to get psyched up for the podcast. Fuck those guys. Nah, and I have to say, Sam, I really appreciate you're always so positive. Like, no, I believe in Ross, and it breaks my heart a little bit. Oh, Sam, you poor deluded fool, you hopeless romantic.
Listen, Ross, most of that is manipulation. All right.
Oh, 100%. But I still appreciate it. At least it's positive manipulation.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's fine. If you didn't have a record of not showing up, I think it wouldn't offend me so much. I wouldn't be so hurt. It wouldn't cut me so deep.
Fair.
Is what I'm saying.
Fair. But the thing is...
But it's the new year, New Year's resolution, you could maybe embrace that.
Yeah.
As your thing. Maybe showing up 2 weeks in a row would be just a start point.
I think 3 weeks in a row. 2 weeks is the record in recent times. So 3 weeks in a row, they're like, oh, hello. We got to start doing like some entertaining movies again, though.
Yeah. What's our record? What's our back catalogue been?
Well, I mean, the last week, what was it supposed to be? Because I wasn't on it. What was it supposed to be?
I'm just looking up. So we had
because it was Labyrinth the week before last, and I think,
well, it's complicated in terms of when it's released, but yeah, we've had Scream, Scary Movie, The Color of Money, Footloose, and then Labyrinth, which was
Color of Money was a good fucking one. Who
that
picked
was a
that
great
one again?
one.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Well, you showed up for it, Ross. You showed up for it. That's the difference. And we had a great episode. We had a good time. We had fun.
You deigned to grace us with your presence.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm ready to start this episode. I don't know about you.
Let's do it.
Right. Hit record. Oh, I wasn't recording them, by the way, so I hope
no,
you're
it's
not
fine.
using
It's fine. It's okay. We don't use that. Home Alone. Add that to the thing. Hide that.
I've swapped.
Show that.
Right, I'm recording now. I've swapped my alignment on the monitor, so I keep going right when I need to go left.
Yes, looking is hard.
Listen,
you're not in your.
I don't like sassy Sam. All right, so fucking.
I'm just bringing the energy.
Rein that in.
I'm just bringing the energy. What's the deal with your recording location? Where in your shed?
The shed's getting too cold, and sort of like I shouldn't be surprised, but like a garden shed, it smells musty, and it's not a environment that I'm comfortable in the moment. So maybe once I get it built back up with proper brickwork, but it's not what I had envisioned for the man cave, so it's not doing the job yet.
That's
also, it is disappointing. It's a bit heartbreaking. Do you know what I think it is? And I don't think this is on the lazy factor. I think it's because I've got to walk out, leave the house, walk through the garden, and get into it. It's that immersion isn't the word, but it breaks the immersion for me. It breaks. Whereas, like, I'm not indoors anymore. I'm outside.
What is this? Is this 1926? Have I got a shit outside? Like, have I got to go to a little in the what's going on with that? Absolutely not. I refuse.
No. I tell you what's the killer for me as well is like the floorboards, like old. It's it's not old, sorry, but it's like a cheap sort of like tongue and groove flooring, which is okay for interior, but like for a semi-exterior, semi-interior structure, basically it just like it sinks under your foot, and that's what kills it for me. Walking through the garden, getting into it, and then the floor
is spongy. Yeah.
Fucking hell, it breaks my heart that.
Well, hopefully you get it done up at some point.
Yeah. Champagne problems, right?
I know. My shed isn't nice enough. My converted livable shed.
Yeah. The building I own, additional to my house. Yeah. It's not everything I hoped it would be.
46?
Let me see.
So
yes.
5 seconds.
Yes.
We can do it. I believe in us. Here we go. We've our neighbor, I'll send you a photo, has built a massive thing, which he showed me. It's monstrous. His wife didn't look very happy when he was showing me because it takes up, like, it's more than half the garden is gone. We've got a slightly bigger garden because we're the end, so we've got a slightly bigger garden.
Oh, nice.
And theirs is maybe about 2/3 of ours, so it really does take up quite a lot of space. And it looks great, and he's going to turn it into a bar, and he's going to get a toilet in it and everything. And like, Jesus Christ, like this is the way to do it. But then I do your warning about well, actually, the reality of not having brick houses is bleaker than you'd hope.
Yeah, I mean, so is his brickwork or what is it?
No, it's a shed. It's made of wood. It's made of wood. It's a shed. So you're looking at. I don't know how long yours has been there, but maybe more than 15 years. Starts to really kind of like deteriorate. 10 years, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, as well, if he's getting like a toilet there, he's going to have to do plumbing and everything. And if it's a
Plumbing,
wooden
electrics,
structure, yeah.
It's insulation, though, isn't it? Maybe just using the summer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I did consider as well, like, but like that's if I get an extension of my house, you could turn it if you did build up, you could turn it into like this the guest room sort of thing, because that's a cool wee thing where it's away from the house.
Yes,
The guests have some privacy, sort of thing.
that is cool.
Mm.
I'll have to come to your house one day, Ross.
Hey, open invitation, man. You and Nicola and the two Hellraisers.
Well, let's not get too far.
Whoa.
I will come to your house.
I said I should come to your house.
And stay in your shed. And get some horrible lung condition from all the damp.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Get fucking tuberculosis.
Right.
Quality.
Let's.
So how many
shit,
times?
We need. Go on.
How many times did you, when watching this, think back to Home Sweet Home Alone from last year?
I know. I do feel we're going to just talk about the same things we talked about then, but meh.
Oh yeah, there's good. Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to happen, isn't it? When you're talking about the same movie franchise.
Yeah. Okay, that's one done. And what else do we need? We need a funny line from this movie.
Oh, I mean, I've got the line. Most iconic line in nearly all of
Are you
movie.
going for a quote? You're going for a quote. Nice. Okay. Let's just check. GarageBand is recording. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. Hello. It's not too quiet. Let's make sure we get the volume going. Right. Ready when you are.
I'm ready. Let's hit it.
Let's do it. Hello, and welcome to the Imaginary Movie Podcast, a podcast where we pretend it's Christmas despite the fact that it's actually November. Through the powers of time travel, you're listening to this on or around Christmas. We don't know when. I haven't looked at a calendar. My name is Sam, and oh God, if only my family would disappear.
I can't tell if you're saying that as a father or as like what you felt when you were a child, because I can see it both ways.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm Ross. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Very good.
Off the bat, let's first say like that sort of like movie they created for Home Alone. Like that's an iconic sort of line from the movie, and it's not even a movie. It's a movie in the universe of a movie, and it's brilliant.
A film within a film, Angels with Filthy Souls, which I think is a parody of Angels with Dirty Faces from the 40s or 30s, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is. Oh, there's so much to enjoy in this. I'm slightly worried, though. I'm slightly worried because it's just me and you, Ross. We haven't got Dave here with us, who obviously makes such a fantastic contribution. I think he's away enjoying Christmas. I think that's what he's doing right now.
Yes, through the magic of time travel, yes.
Yes, exactly. But I'm always worried about
three spirits, I believe, tonight.
And all of them will have absolutely no effect on him whatsoever,
because he does not fucking listen. Yeah,
no, he'll merely affirm his view on life, and that'll just be the end of that.
Fuck you, spirit! I'm David Newell. I know better.
Well, we tried, guys. Maybe some people are just
Christmas past who's experienced almost everything. I'm David Newell. I know better.
This is the roasting that we absolutely deserve.
The advantage, yeah.
While he's not here. But I am worried about doing basically any good movie, because we always go in and we think, I mean, what's there to say? we're
no notes.
we're already really stretching. I think 2 or 3 white guys sharing their opinions about movies on a podcast is already stretching the realms of originality pretty far. And I think, well, what have we got to say about Home Alone? But
Imaginary Podcast presents two white guys agreeing with each other for 90 minutes.
Just like every podcast on the internet. But I do think we should maybe just forget that and really revel in the self-confidence that we obviously have as two straight white guys, and just enjoy talking about this great movie, because I think there's so much to enjoy here. And I've seen this film hundreds of times.
Of course.
And I still enjoy it. I still enjoy every single minute of this movie.
I don't think I've properly watched this since my childhood, but like yourself, because I've watched it so many times, you're like, okay, yeah, and here now comes the robbers, and he's baddie, and now Kevin's going to learn the meaning of family. So yeah, watching it for the first time, I think properly in like over 10 years, easily.
Wow.
And yeah, genuinely, and just, I mean, first thing that struck me, and like I never realized this before. Wow, Kevin McAllister, bit of a shit. He's a bit of a shit. I remember watching this growing up, and I'm thinking, and as you do through the child's eyes, yeah, stupid grown-ups telling him what to do. Kevin knows what's what. Yeah, and I'm watching like, this fucking kid, if he doesn't wind his fucking neck in, I swear to Christ.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? And I'm surprised you haven't watched this as an adult, because you have a child, and I think I would have expected this to be in your.
We're getting
Christmas.
to that period.
He's still quite young, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's still about 3 or something. So, right. So there's still time, but you're totally right, because when you're watching this as a kid, you're just completely bought in to Kevin McAllister as a character. You think this guy is just everyone is a dick.
Yeah.
And everyone does treat him poorly. And actually, he's totally right. When you watch it, especially as a parent, welcome to Dadcast, you end up...
This is why Dave isn't here, actually. Because
we excluded him because he hasn't...
He has no children.
When you watch it as a parent, like, I think the mum is a little bit mean at the start. I think she is a little bit dismissive, but the kids have been off school. The kids have been off school for a week already. And there's 15 people in a house.
I was going to say, not only that, there's like 2 other families there, and their kids are there. I mean, like, as annoying as your kids are, Sam, right? And as annoying as your kids, you love them. You don't have that for other people's kids. And like, I don't have to tolerate your shit. I've got to tolerate mine because I made that. That's my responsibility. But you, I will punt you out the fucking living room window if you do not sit on your arse.
Small doses, fine. But when you're looking at extended periods, you just think, right, okay, I have patience for my children most of the time. Sometimes, maybe, possibly.
Sometimes we snap.
And so I think, yes, she's a little bit short, and
sure,
but she's dealing with a lot here. And Kevin McAllister is one of many kids who are stomping their feet. And you know what? Fuck off to bed. Get to bed.
Do you know what it was for me? Where I was like, where it was just oh shit, Kevin's the villain. It's like the very, very open scene where, like, the mom's doing a load of stuff, like, and she's on the phone trying to, I don't know, order something or cancel something or whatever. She's talking to whoever.
She's on the phone. Yeah.
And Kevin walks in and basically tries to strike up a conversation. She's like, "I'm on the phone, Kevin." And then he just, like, he leaps onto the bed, and she's like, "Kevin, off the bed." And the child completely, like, just full on, doesn't ignore her, because she's like, "Get off the bed." And he's like, "Why don't you get off the phone and make me?" And I was like, "Ooh, boy, you do not want me to get off this fucking phone." You thought, "Not yeah."
So that's the way it is it?
Oh, today you chose death. Is that right? Honestly.
Right. You're absolutely right, because there is points of this film where you think, fucking hell. Now, this is a sidebar and it's Dadcast, so we're going to go for it. Have you watched fucking Bluey? Have you watched Bluey?
Bruh. It's like,
right.
Seriously, like...
So there's lots of things that are very positive.
Are we about to review Bluey like we did Postman Pat a couple
Absolutely.
of months ago?
Welcome to the Bluey cast. Now, we've watched. So Bluey's good, actually a really good show. I think it's really fun and it's great for the kids.
It
It's
is like the
fantastic.
ultimate kid show because I found myself watching Bluey while Dylan's not even in the room and I'm watching this fucking kid show. Anyway, continue.
But it suffers from something that a lot of kids' TV suffers for, which is the parents in it are almost universally patient, completely willing to give up whatever they're doing to look after their kids. It's the same with fucking Bing, which I hate. I hate Bing. And
yup.
And it's like, actually, this is. I think it sets the expectations so fucking high. It sets the expectations so high for parents, where you're like, oh, I have to be okay. So you want to peel the wallpaper off the wall, do you? Right. Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
No, this isn't acceptable. That is not what we do in this house. We do not peel wallpaper off the walls. I'm sorry. You can. No, that is the answer. No is the answer. And I think this movie, Home Alone, is like the antidote to that, because this mom is fucking sick of this shit. She's sick of it. She's had 90,000 people in her house, and the little shit is not doing as told. Go to bed, Kevin, and we'll see you in 2 days when we get back from Paris. Like that's
give him like a dog bowl full of food and water. Like, there you are. No, you're not. Yeah. No, you don't go to Paris.
It was totally intentional. It was. She totally knew. She totally knew. And so that is, I think, when you're reassessing this movie as an adult with kids, it's really easy to, like, as you say, Kevin's the villain. Fuck this little kid.
Kevin,
he got what he did. He got what he deserved. And
right. Yeah. Maybe now you'll fucking learn. I mean, he doesn't. He gets left alone 2 more times at least.
I know he did this again in New York. And then I'm thinking, right, maybe you are bad parents, actually. Yeah.
I mean, once, God, what a terrible tragedy. Is the child okay? Oh, and how do you guys feel? Second time, guys.
Yeah, child services.
Yeah. Talk to me here. Yeah. Oh, you're getting a lawyer in the room. Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. I had to get a lawyer in the room too if I was you.
I wouldn't say anything unless asked.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to plead the fifth, Your Honor. But I'm going to, for the first time, I'm going to do something that we're probably going to be doing throughout this entire episode, and that's do my first comparison. Because, dear listeners, if you're avid fans of the show, which I seriously doubt, you'll remember that we did a review last year of Home Sweet Home Alone, which was at the time then recently released Disney remake or reboot or whatever we want to describe it as of the Home Alone franchise. About fucking piss poor show is what I'd call it. Now, what the one thing that struck me, Sam, and it's really odd because, like, I'm thinking, I'm trying to watch it through a child's eyes and stuff, but when watching a Home Alone as a kid, I'm like, yeah, this is good. You know what I mean? Yeah, the kid knows what's what, and there's some proper slapstick. A lot of violence, to be fair, but comedy, and everyone's having a good time. Adults are having a good time. Kids are having a good time. But then watching, again, the original Kevin Macaulay Culkin Home Alone last night, again, I'm watching it through an adult's eyes, enjoying it. Again, still loving the slapstick comedy, loving some of the violence. Just really enjoying this, and like I'm looking forward to watching this with my son when he's old enough to watch these kind of movies. And then I think back on what we experienced the Home Sweet Home Alone 2, where they were like really trying to make this kid cute, and he was just a fucking smart alecky British kid. Like, obviously they were trying to make Macaulay Culkin like a cute cheeky kid, and that worked. But this kid in the remake, I'm like, I just want to fucking, you know what I mean? I'm like, go away from me, child. I don't want to talk to you. All right, you're annoying my head now. But also, even the bits, I don't know if this sort of struck a chord for you, but the bits where you're having, it's a clear line, isn't it? Where the bad guys in the original Home Alone, they're crooks and they're trying to take stuff, whereas the quote-unquote bad guys in the remake, it's just a misunderstanding. He took a doll that doesn't belong to them.
I know.
And even then, and like, which is poor at best. And then the other thing then you have is the actual physical comedy aspect, again, Home Alone still stands up. It's still funny to watch, and the reactions and the acting and the way the things are set up, fantastic. Watching in home, and I'm watching in Home Sweet Home Alone, and it's like fucking hell. Oh, it's just a massive product placement advert. And I thought, in anticipation of this, would I feel the same way watching Home Alone again now? Will I feel the same? Because I saw one product placement, or heard one product placement actually, and it was for Hot Wheels. But that's what kids call their cars. Whereas in Home Sweet Home Alone, hey, pick up that Nerf X Blast, only $24.99 and all best retailers. Fucking,
Jesus, it's just popped up on the screen, a linked one click to buy. What the fuck?
I mean, at one point, because Alexa, set up trap music. Okay, all right, fucking who else has gotten cashed in on this?
Who's getting paid for this shit?
Yeah. So that we had that discussion. Go on, Tim.
Well, you raised three really important points. Macaulay Culkin. I mean, this kid in this movie is doing some proper acting. Like, it is, as we've seen in Home Sweet Home Alone, and as we've seen in almost every other movie with children. Kids are fucking annoying. Kids, you really, really, really need to work so hard to get a kid who is so, number one, can act, number two, isn't just really irritating and smarmy and over the top.
Well, I was because you get that in real life, don't you? Where a kid, somewhere along the line, but they've learned too early that adults like cute kids, so they try and do the cuteness, and it just ends up making the adult go, I don't want to interact with you, child.
Yeah.
We're basically you think you're being cute, but you're doing it intentionally, and you're not developed enough to know that I know that you're not like
win the game. Shut up.
Yeah, and that's what I think of the kid in Home Sweet Home Alone as.
Yeah,
you're trying to be cute, and it ain't coming off as cute, buddy.
And
continue, Sam.
And the other, and how do you get there though? Because he's also got he's on screen most of the time, almost every single scene. He's in, and so he's got a lot of acting work to do. He's got a lot of different, he's got a whole range of emotions to cover, and I think it's about him and his talent, and it's also about his exploitative parents, but also Chris Columbus knows what the fuck he's doing. Chris Columbus is the director. This is
yes,
he's just so good, I think, at managing that relationship with the kids and all of the stuff, all the trivia. He was going down to his level and could really engage with Culkin and all the other kids as well in the movie. He's got this ability to connect with children and to really get the best out of them in a role, which is why he directed the first two Harry Potter movies. Because you've got nobodies, basically, kids who Daniel Radcliffe never done acting before. And so what do we need? We need someone who's going to make it as comfortable as possible and is going to get the best out of these child actors who've got a hard gig. And I think that the fun and the lightness, because you see Culkin breaking sometimes. You see him smiling quite clearly at the camera.
Yeah,
when he's running around crazy around the house and he's loving it. You see him break, and you think, brilliant. To just leave that in the movie, to be okay with that, because that's a genuine
kid being a kid.
Yeah, it's a genuine response, and I think that's brilliant. The second part you brought up was bad guys. They're actually quite scary.
yeah. The Wet Bandits. It's a fucking horrible name that you can fucking derive some weird connotations from.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are terrifying. I mean, Joe Pesci as well. The casting. I mean, I couldn't tell the name of the other fellow, but Joe Pesci is enough.
Joe Pesci. I mean, it's out of character to what you think he would be in, isn't it? A film that he would be in, and I think he was not the first choice, if I remember rightly.
Wow. And see, thinking about this, then, after watching it last night, I'm thinking because obviously prior to this, maybe it came out after, but when did Casino come out? Because we had Goodfellas, we had those. Was Casino after Home Alone?
So Home Alone was Home
90?
Alone was 90, which means that Casino
Yes,
must have
Casino was 95.
95. I think it was afterwards, wasn't it? Yeah. So you're still in like peak Pesci, really.
So that's because I was thinking as well, like, because whilst his performance is fantastic in this, I'm thinking, oh, is this maybe like the beginning of the decline of Pesci's sort of career? But no, evidently not, because he came back
Yeah.
and did fucking Casino. Jesus Christ.
And what else came out in 1990? Goodfellas. So we're like,
Wow.
where Pesci is the most.
Imagine being the kid. I don't know if you were like this, Sam, but like if I was watching, like, say, a movie, say like Jim Carrey or some other movie, and if I saw Jim Carrey in, like, say, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and as a kid you're like, oh, that's funny, and anything else you'd see him, and then after I'd be like, oh, it's the funny guy, I'll watch this. Imagine applying that same logic to Joe Pesci. Oh, it's the guy from Home Alone. I'll watch this. What do I
Holy
fucking amuse
shit.
you? I'm a clown to you? Is that what I fucking am to you?
And
You
that's if you
motherfucker.
and that's if you get past the first scene where they open the boot and stab the fuck out of the guy in the back.
Yeah, and
Like
don't forget that
in
scene in Casino where he's got this guy's head in a fucking vice.
yeah.
You, what are you still doing now? I thought I told you to go fuck your mother. Bang, ping, pop, bang.
And so well, like when they're actually, they are like, they're comedic, but they're also quite menacing. And watching it with a kid, you do see moments of like, because I think kids know that this guy's not to be fucked with. They know that he's also in Goodfellas. They may not have seen it, but they know what's going on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it is
don't
really
call him funny. Whatever you do not call this guy funny.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, and again, like I compare this back to when I was watching as a kid, and you said like these guys are menacing, and obviously you picked it up as an adult, but like whilst watching as a kid, you have that simple understanding of, oh, these are bad guys. Oh, oh, don't mess with them, or they're trying to get your stuff. I didn't feel like I didn't feel that sense of dread that you might feel like knowing now what you know, like, Jesus Christ, this kid fucking narrowly escaped. this kid, because I don't know about you, but if they're willing to like rob several houses, they're willing to go a little bit further to make sure they don't get caught. You know what I mean?
Culkin didn't quite escape because there's a famous bit of trivia where, in the scene where he threatens to bite his finger, he's bite his fingers off. Joe Pesci actually bit him, and Culkin has a scar from the bite mark, which is quite amazing.
That's insane.
I know it is. It's mad. Which leads me into. Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, well, how do you get to the point? Because I can understand, getting into it. If you're in like a fight scene, you need that aggression. But you're like, still, you're working with the fucking child, man. How do you get to the point where you're like, what happened? You fucking tripped, fell, his finger landed in your mouth, and you bit down. Like what? Joe, talk to me here, buddy. I'm your pal, okay? But you gotta be honest with me. Did you bite the kid?
Until court proceedings begin, and in which case I'm absolutely a witness against you. So
in this case, I'm Joe Pesci's lawyer in this. Joe, you gotta talk to me. You gotta tell me what happened. Give me your side of the story. The kid hit you, right? The kid, you were defending yourself, right?
Come on, Joe.
Whilst hung from a fucking clothes hanger on the door, he lunged at you, right?
These are all things that I think would be useful for the defense. Definitely. But that leads me into your third point, which is the stunts in this movie, and just also like the creativity that we get.
Before we get onto the stunts and the creativity, we should also mention as well that I really, again, upon watching Home Alone again, I really detest that they tried to humanize the quote unquote bad guys in Home Alone in the remake, because they were trying to do something different, and kudos, but they were trying to make like, oh, they're stealing a toy because it's worth money, and they're also good people, and then they all laugh at the end, ha 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 ha. Like, no, you want fucking stakes where the kid is basically in the right, and these bad guys out to get him, and it's not like, oh my god, like, it's, what are you trying to do? We're not fucking, it's not a M. Night Shyamalan movie. Twist, you were the robber all along. No, just fucking like. There's no need to humanize them. You just want a simple, especially in a Christmas movie, you want a simple story. ABC, done deal. Thank you. Santa came. We all got presents.
Exactly. I want to hate the bad guys. I want to be able to.
Without remorse.
to just to escape into a world of good and evil, and
yeah.
to not have to be like, oh yeah, but they're just stealing stuff to feed their kids,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Oh, he's
no.
behind on the mortgage. Oh
Oh,
no. I don't need a reminder of real fucking life, thanks.
exactly. The precarious nature of our fucking economy is more than apparent to me. So could we just dial it down, please? Could you just let me hate these people?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to hate them. Just that's
Is
fine.
that a skill X trick in the background? Because that looks pretty cool. You know, I want Late Toy Show with a little bit of story. I don't need I don't need to fucking challenge my existential understanding of what is good and evil. Fuck this.
It's a kids movie. It's Christmas.
I want to feel good for 90 minutes. Can I please have that?
Exactly. The answer is no. The answer is no. Unless you go back to 1990. There we go.
Unless you go back to that sweet, sweet comfort spot that is the 90s.
It is the 90s. It's where we live. It is our safe place, isn't it?
There's no place like 90s. There's no place like 90s.
And again, ignoring the fact that unless you were, a straight white guy like us, it probably wasn't that good. But never mind. Shut up. Quiet. So, the stunts in this film and just the overall, the overall creativity that we get to see. I think this is. I don't think it's underappreciated, but I don't think it's something that comes to mind immediately when you think about this movie. You think about Culkin, you think about the actors, you think about the concept of Home Alone, which we need to talk about, like how they managed to achieve the fact that we can leave Kevin here believably. But before we do that, like the scene, especially when Kevin is like, he's doing his prep. We get a prep montage, and he's getting everything ready, and he's pulling, he's getting all the string on the doors, and he's getting the
heat hook thing. Yeah,
all of that is
flamethrower, blowtorch.
It may as well be a flamethrower.
He's violating the Geneva Convention.
And the mustard gas and all that, yeah. And so he's doing all this stuff, and then we get like this great 30-odd minute sequence of the robbers coming in, and
I was surprised because, like I said, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again, but like I said, I fell asleep last night trying, watching. I was very, very tired, so I had to watch that last half hour again, and because I woke up when the mother got back, and so I picked it up from there and just started rewinding. And like you said, I was surprised that segment was 30 minutes. It was these guys getting 7 colors of shit knocked out of them for 30 minutes, and it was just solid entertainment. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing, is that the time goes really well because it's so well paced, and what we get to see is so well imagined and so well shot. Like there's all the pratfalls, which are just great, like on the cars and down the stairs. There's a great quote from Columbus who says, every time the stunt guys did one of those stunts, it wasn't funny. We'd watch it, and I would just pray the guys were alive. And I think, what a fucking quote that is. That's the director of the movie.
Yeah.
Completely terrified that these stunt people, because they were going to try and use harnesses and shit, but it doesn't play, you could tell. And I think so much of the joy comes from these stunt performers, just
the physicality,
just going for it. When he falls down the Pesci or the stunt actor falls down the stairs outside the front of the house, over and over and over again, and he's crawling up and then gets to the top, stands up and goes whoop, and does it again. I mean, it's like a cartoon, and it's a real people. Maybe with soft stairs.
That's the thing. Slapstick, violent comedy that you would get in your Looney Tunes. Fucking Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. And you're talking about Joe Pesci slipping on the ice, and the other guy whose name escapes me.
Daniel Stern is the actor. Yeah,
Daniel Stern,
Marv.
And he was going, and he was going down the stairs, and he was slipping on ice of his own. But it got to a point, and this was the hilarious thing, where basically he was on like the porch landing downstairs between the basement door and the basement steps, and he's trying to stand up, so he's had to prop himself using the crowbar, and then he does it where basically he's slipping, and he just does like this slight split with his legs.
His legs
so he's
go
got
to the
either foot propped against the wall because he can't get a footing, and he's trying to pry open the door, legs akimbo. Just
and what timing?
The sheer spectacle, yeah.
The way it's just perfect.
Yep. Yeah,
it's perfect, and that's, you can't take that for granted, because someone has to think about that. Someone has to think about, we're going to put the camera there.
How's this looking? Yeah,
and then we're gonna frame it, and then he's going to do that, and then afterwards we're going to add some Foley to make it sound really funny. Like all of this stuff is just so good, and also like the bit when Mark's, Daniel Stern steps on the nail, like every time I'm like,
no.
and then falls backwards holding his foot. I mean, just
downstairs. Now, this for me is the perfect, like the peak moment to contrast with the poor physicality of the comedy from the remake, because you have it where, I don't know if you remember, where basically he did something with cola bottles, and he sprayed. He had the Mentos in he had the Mentos in the cola bottles, and basically fires them off at the two people. Which, okay, yeah, that's fine, but you see that in like every sort of third YouTube video of people doing that, and you have that where people are having like the cola bottles fired at them, in stark contrast to a guy having his foot impaled by a nail. Now again, one of those is quite fucking striking, and we some of us have been there. We're stepping in like, oh my god, that's a tetanus shot. And but the thing is, like, it's still a kids movie, but you wouldn't get that in kids movies nowadays. And I'm not here to say like, and we're sort of we're bibifying, the next generation. That's not what I'm saying. But there was something here where basically this was deemed okay, and like I would let my kid watch this because it's funny as hell. But by pulling your punches so much, you end up with something that isn't an enjoyable experience. And I think trying to recreate something without having all the ingredients, you've got a lackluster sort of product at the end, and it shows with the remake. I cannot get over how bad the remake is, when all you had to do was like I said a year ago, all you had to do was do the same thing again. It could have been a shot-for-shot remake, and Disney would have made bank.
Well, you're exactly right, because look at I'm not sure you've seen it, but look at the new Force Awakens is pretty much the same. I mean,
really,
say what you like about the rest of the series, but Force Awakens is a pretty good, well-constructed movie that's interesting to watch, and it's almost exactly the same as A New Hope. So you're exactly right, and I think go back and listen to that episode. But we said at that time, how could you get this so wrong? How could you get this so wrong when they got it right here, and they also got it right, I think, in Home
2 years later.
2. Not as good a film, definitely, but I think still really, really good, and lots of merits to Home Alone 2 as well. The problem, I think, is that you have to basically make the audience believe the premise of the movie. And I think the greatest achievement in this film is all of the small details that they drop in to make you turn off your brain, to make you to give you that suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
because it's really unbelievable that you could get on a plane to France without one of your kids. Like, I would find that even me, scatterbrained as I am, would find it difficult to achieve. And yet the film is like, we're not going to just ignore this. We're going to address it.
It gives you the proper setup. Yep.
Yeah.
It gives you the proper setup. You addressed this scene again a year ago when you said like how you commended how they did it, where the mess was created, which, by the way, I'm going to get back to the mess because there's something I want to say about that, but how the mess was created and how Kevin's ticket inadvertently ended up in the bin under the paper plates and the napkins to You even then
Number
having
one,
the
there we
kid,
go.
number one, then you have the kid from next door introduce himself to the drivers because they've slept in. There's electrical storm, they slept in. Hence why everyone's so manic trying to get ready for the drivers that are waiting outside. Meanwhile, the drivers waiting outside have been accosted by this kid who's asking nosy questions. And whilst the kid's rifling through the luggage, he inadvertently gets counted in the head count, making them think that everyone's there. So you have three key aspects where without any one of them it would fall apart, but it was the perfect storm of occurrences that made this happen, and you buy it now. And again, I know I keep shitting on it, but and I will continue to do so. You compare that to the remake, where essentially it's the whole premise of the kid being left alone depends upon you having seen the original movie.
Yeah,
There is
exactly.
so little effort put in to go, this is why the kid's been left alone. It's just like, hey, remember that movie from 20 years ago? Well, look what happened this time. That's it. That's the setup.
It's the lack of creativity that's the problem in that film, and in Home Alone 1990, what you get is just so much creativity. I mean, even things like the fact that the parents are in first class and the kids are in coach. So,
yeah,
like, I mean, maybe one of the kids would have noticed, perhaps. The only other small like thing that I've noticed after how many viewings is that Fuller is the one who drinks Pepsi.
Yes,
is supposed to be sleeping in the room with him, and so why wouldn't if he woken up Kevin at the same?
I can tell you this, because Kevin was supposed to be sleeping in his room with Fuller, but because he was being a little shithead, he was made to sleep upstairs in the attic.
I see. Right. Oh,
yeah. So it wasn't his
right.
normal
So
room.
I take back my point then.
But you
So
see, the point still stands about on the plane where the kids are all together. Hey, where's Kevin?
Yeah, but they're kids, so maybe not. But again, the film doesn't present us with that. We never, very importantly, we never get to see the kids on the plane. We just focus on girls.
Yes,
So
exactly.
It's all like, but somebody's got to think about this. Somebody's got to think about all of this stuff, so that when we're watching it, we don't just completely go, "Oh, that's just silly. That's just that would never happen."
As if, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think this film is so clever. Now, then we get just once they realize what's happened, it's them trying to get back. And my wife, yeah, my wife works in the travel industry, and it's just like the airline would get them back on the next flight. They would just do it. It's fine. They wouldn't have any problem with that. It would. This French woman just saying, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." It's like, isn't there? Have you got like a spare place? You got a single spare seat to America?
There's literally no flights leaving the country
in Europe.
What would you tell me?
What's going on here?
But again, that relies upon, and this is going to sound rude, but that relies upon, and it does pay off, Americans' very, very, very limited knowledge of EU and EU countries. And I'll give you an example. Mine and Dave's friend Fen, who he's back in the States again, but actually when he was previously living in the States, and he left all his friends and stuff in the UK, and he was looking to get like basically a SIM card. This is before like WhatsApp and all, but he was looking to get a SIM card essentially with like international call minutes. And he was saying as such to this person in the shop, and he's like, "Oh, I want to be able to call the UK." And she was like, "What? I want to be able to call UK, or Germany or whatever." She goes, "We don't do that." And he's like, "No, you do. Look, no, you've got this one here." And he points at like a particular sort of like offer, and she goes, "Oh, you want to call Europe?" And he's like, "Yes." but those countries are in Europe. Isn't Europe like a country? I'm like, oh my god, fucking.
I mean, we had a war about that, which I'm pretty sure America was involved in eventually.
Yeah, you guys were there, remember? Honestly, and like, no offense to our American cousins across the pond, but come on, guys, be better than this. You don't have an excuse anymore. Come on.
Yeah. And that's coming from the country that brought you Brexit. So we're really, I mean, we're even us with our
Yeah.
stupid, foreign policy decisions compared to you guys, we're still ahead of you. So that's how bad it is. That's how bad it
Yeah.
is.
You
Take
guys
that,
are flagging
America.
behind. Boom. You just been American podcasted.
You mentioned Uncle Buck, and then we get just like I think one of the greatest little characters and just formulations of the
And that could have
scene.
been, he could have been a throwaway plot point. Do you know what I mean? Oh, and there's a guy here now, and he helps her get home, and they connect. But they made it more.
They made it more, and they made it more. They let the guy whose name I'm John Candy. They let John Candy improvise the lines. He was the only one who could improvise, and he was paid a grand total of $400 ish.
What?
He did it as a favor to John Hughes, and so the payback was okay. You can improvise. And every time I watch this, I think this might be my favorite scene in the movie when he's going, oh yeah,
if you're going to say the same thing I'm about to say, go on.
Well, we had a few hits, mainly in Sheboygan, and he says we sold 463 copies of Polka, wherever it is. And then this is the one that you're going to say is the bit where, oh yeah, we left. I can't remember the lines out of it. We left
the funeral parlor.
Funeral parlor. Yeah, he was all right. He started talking eventually
after a few weeks. But you know what line? That scene was French kiss. But yeah, that is hilarious. He goes, yeah. She's like, have you ever left your kids? Because he was trying to make her feel better. Oh, he's still feeling bad. And she was like, well, have you ever left your kids? And he goes, yeah, once we left him for a whole day in a funeral parlor. Me and the wife, we fell off. Of course, we came back at the end of the day. Of course, by that time he had spent a whole day with the corpses. But kid, and then he says, kids are resilient that way. He started talking again after 3 or 4 weeks, and then the mum says like, "Oh my god!" Like in a sort of judgy way, and he's like, "Hey, well, you asked me. I'm just trying to make you feel better." She's like, "Well, yeah, okay."
I'm sorry, I did. She says, great acting from both, just amazing.
That throwaway line where he like gets a bit like offended. I'm trying to make you feel better here.
And he obviously invented that. That's John Candy's improvisation.
Off the cuff.
Oh, I just love that character. And it's just, I mean, John Candy's excellent in almost everything he's in. And he's just got that energy and that little twinkle in his eye, which is, missed. But I think that kind of sums up the craft of this movie, doesn't it? It sums up the fact that there's so much love and so much attention, and like people have put a lot of work into this. They put a lot of work into creating, I think, like the world. You believe the world where this could happen.
Yeah. Everything, like in one sentence to me, I would say everything is fleshed out. Nothing is left to chance. Because, and again, like I said, that character, John Candy's character, that could have been a throwaway thing where, oh, this person comes to save the day, boom, done. But they made it John Candy, and it was one of the funniest sort of dialogues. The robbers, you could have had, fucking Dolph Lundgren play him, and have been a menacing character. But no, you need that physicality to bring the comedy to it. And with Joe Pesci especially, you got that. And then like the setup of we mentioned earlier, the setup of how Kevin came to be home alone, and because of the care and the way it was fleshed out, the adults, I mean, the kids will buy it. Fuck, the kids, they're idiots. But the adults watching, they've bought in too now.
Even after 30 years of watching, you're still going, I'm still enjoying every single minute of it. And I think it's why this is the best Christmas movie there is. I don't think there's much competition for me that
the Santa Claus. Surely.
Ross, I love the Santa Claus. I think that's really, really fun. I don't think it's as well made as this. I don't think it has I don't think it has I don't think it has the comedy matched with the sentiment, matched with the as we've been talking about, like the craft, the filmmaking of all of these spinning plates that they manage to keep going. I think that's what elevates this above the Santa Claus. Although I do love that movie. Have we done this? Have we done the Santa Claus?
We did. Yes, we done it. I think it was either last year or the year before.
Previous episode.
We talked about all the like elves and like how there's like, I thought it was just one scene, but there's like 5, 6 scenes where like, holy shit, there's a fucking elf in that scene. That's not a fucking child. That's a goddamn elf.
Again, 30 odd years after it came out, we're like, guys, look at this.
But yes, we have done the Santa Claus. We're running out of Christmas movies.
But quite seriously, because we don't have that many in our like rotation. We've got Elf. We've got the Christmas Chronicle. Oh, no, we haven't done Elf. No, we've got the Christmas Chronicle. Although I think Elf is okay. I think there's a lot to be improved upon with Elf. To be fair, I don't think it's quite necessarily as anyway. That's a different podcast.
I'll tell you what it is for me. I quite liked Elf until people ruined it for me, because people were like, oh my god, Elf is the best Christmas movie ever. I'm like, no, yeah, it's a fun watch, but it's not up there with Die Hard. It's not up there with the Santa Claus. It's not up there. It's a good movie. It's not one of the Christmas greats. And now I don't know if you've seen, but Asda, who are Walmart in the States. It's Walmart in the UK, essentially. Asda. They've basically, it's the weirdest thing where they're using Buddy the elf, the character, to promote their Christmas campaign, but it's in a weird way where they've like clipped him out of movies and having interactions with people. So like it's word for word. It's essentially they've
used Elf. They've used
cut and pasted him. Yeah, if such a thing
to
as
talk
possible.
to Asda employees about how great Asda is.
And it's like, fucking hell, guys. This is it's shallow at best, and it shows what you think of people. Like, oh, people love Buddy the Elf. Let's put it in a fucking ad. That'll get them here in droves.
Like, shut up and buy things.
Yeah, exactly. Don't think. Don't you dare fucking think.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
No,
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, it's tainted it. I think the there's one more point from me on Home Alone.
Hit me.
And it's the last scene of the movie. It's the bit when Kevin's at the window, and we get. I mean, we haven't. There's so much we haven't talked about this, and you can go on Wikipedia and read the trivia yourself. But I mean, number one, John Williams soundtrack that just surges through this movie. Chris Columbus got in touch with Steven Spielberg and said, "Can I speak to John, please?" I mean, it's just amazing.
Is John there?
Yeah, in your house because he lives there in the basement. Stephen, it elevates this movie in a way that I think is quite amazing, in a way that John Williams is so good at. But this isn't a soundtrack podcast. My point was, when Macaulay Culkin is at the window and he sees the whole, we haven't even talked about the subplot of the old guy, and he sees him reuniting with his estranged family, and he's hugging his granddaughter.
Yeah,
it's lovely. It's lovely. It's a great plot, and I think it adds so much heart to this movie in a way. And we need to mention that. But when we get this great kind of like medium close up of Culkin, who is clearly not looking at that. He's this kid is just at a window in a studio somewhere. And the emotion that he manages to convey at 10 years, 8 years old or 9 years old, whatever he is, the way that he's like, you can see joy and happiness, and he's got a little bit of tears, and it's like, and then that's the
relief
movie.
And yeah, I
just think, fucking hell, like to get that shot, they must have been just ecstatic to be able to get a kid to do that, and obviously like. He found something inside of him that he could bring out, and I just think that is proper good acting, because it also you end the film with the perfect
and good directing as well, of course.
Absolutely, you end the film with a perfect tone and the perfect feel, and you go, "That's Christmas." That's the feeling that you want at the end of the movie.
Yes, yeah,
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's try a challenge then before we close up. Negative things. Can you come up with any negative things to say about this movie?
Oh,
I've got one, and this is a
well,
stretch.
I'll think while you go. Go on.
Yeah, I feel like the old man being the savior could have been a bit more. What's the word? Because well, previously I described everything as so fleshed out, and I would say the old man thing is the least fleshed out of all of it. Now you're introduced to him at the beginning, where he's given this scary backstory. Kevin runs into him at the shop, runs away from him, and then they sort of connect in the church just before the final showdown, which is a bit convenient. And then the old man, once Joe Pesci and his partner, what the Wet Bandits have Macaulay Culkin cornered, he magically shows up to save the day. Now, everyone can accept that because the movie has been a fantastic sort of experience thus far. And you're like, yeah, okay, this guy saves the day. Cool. I feel like it takes away some of the agency Macaulay Culkin's character had, and the ingenuity he'd shown thus far. I feel like it cheapens his what the kid achieved a little bit by needing to be saved. I mean, sure, having some help, absolutely, but I think it could have been a little bit better. A little bit more prep to have the old man show up to save. I mean, why was he there in that particular house at that particular time? He just shows up. That's the biggest gripe I can come up with. It's not the biggest gripe I have. I don't care, but it's the only negative thing. I'm trying to be fucking balanced here, and I'm gush over a 30-year-old movie, and that's the best I got, Sam.
I think it's a good effort to prepare. I don't think you're wrong at all. But yeah, it is difficult. The only thing that I can think of is just how fucking stinking rich all these people are. I mean, Jesus to God.
Yeah.
So the brother, this guy's Mr. McAllister's brother, pays for 15 people to go on a flight from New York to Paris at Christmas.
He works on Wall Street. This is about 10 years or 8 years, 18 years before he fucking, jumps off a roof or something, from the fucking crash.
I mean, honest, and even this fucking house and all of, they're just, they're so rich. There's some funny, actually. There's a funny, like, not rumors, like meme-ish type of things where people are talking about, like, what job do they have? And the theory is that Mrs. McAllister, Kevin's mom, she brings home the money. She's I think it's like a fashion designer or something, and so that's where the money comes from. Is she's like really big into fashion, and you think, but there got to be something because these guys are just so rich, and their house is ridiculous.
Yes,
and maybe that's the only negative thing I have about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that again until Home Sweet Home Alone, where basically these, and again, it's where the bad guys are struggling, paycheck to paycheck. Oh, the mortgage is due. Oh, guys, what are we going to do? And they're living in a fucking palace. Maybe you don't need a 6-bedroom house with yourself and 2 kids. Maybe you can downsize. I'm not saying you should.
The den. Fucking hell.
But the basketball courts, you can do with 1 basketball court, all right, kid? Fuck me.
Are we poor now?
Yes. And we're supposed to feel bad for this kid who lives in the richest part of Rich Town and is fucking yeah. I mean, we're covering old ground here, but yeah. But the thing about how rich they were didn't ping me until it was raised in Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yeah. Yeah, what's I think quite amazing is, and I'm actually slightly worried for you now, is just how much negative impact Home Sweet Home Alone's had on your psyche,
bro.
even a year after, it's still fresh. It's still fresh, and there's no coming back.
Like it makes it makes an argument for like those abusive parents who force their kids to go to interviews, interviews for TV shows and blah blah. You know what? If it keeps them in line, maybe there's a reason for it. But that's what this movie is making me think. Previously, I thought, well, that's child abuse. Now I'm thinking, wow, maybe some of them need it. Maybe some of them need it.
Maybe.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And that's a good place to end, I think, Ross, with the spreading of joy and cheer as we
the advocation of child abuse. God bless us, everyone.
Absolutely, that's the level I think that we're at, and that's what Christmas is about, really, isn't it? That's where we should be as we celebrate this Christmas. I think this is going to go out just slightly before Christmas. So if you're listening, have a lovely Christmas. And it's November now, so I'm not really full of the cheer, really, that I could genuinely wish you a Merry Christmas. But watch Home Alone. It's a good film. Like, comment, subscribe.
Get that Christmas feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
Comment, subscribe. You're gonna fucking comment.
Engage.
We'll never get it.
Sit down with the family and put on the Imaginary Movie Podcast on
Cock
Christmas
shit
Day.
balls, fucking.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Absolute perfection. Cock shit balls. Sit down in front of the fire. Get the Maltesers out. Fucking whore bitch. God, fucking thunder cunt. I don't know.
There we go.
Right, I'm gonna hit it. Sport.
Bye-bye.
Where the fuck's my mouse? There it is.